multiple streams going.
Which is kind of weird.
Well,
Awesome.
It's
new. I like it. Find the audience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to figure out what works and what doesn't work.
All right, let's get you. Ooh.
Knocking it out.
The hips don't lie. All right, so today we are going to focus on gratitude, right? It's a wonderful month to be intentional about gratitude. I'm big on, that's how I live my life. I'm big on living in gratitude. And it's
absolutely
when people ask me how I'm able to spin situations, right? When there's something crazy and chaotic going on, and how I'm able to switch that gear, or I can be in my power, is through gratitude. It's how you take a situation that's could be tough or could be challenging, and when you look at it through a lens of gratitude, it changes everything, right? So like you and I were talking earlier today on the phone about Mondays, and so many people hate Mondays because they have to go back to work.
Got a case of the Mondays.
But we were saying how for us, because we have young children and there's a lot going on, and we're so grateful that we get to spend those weekends with them and be intentional with the time. But Monday, we're grateful for Mondays. We get a little reprieve.
It's like quiet.
That's the quiet. We're grateful for the quiet. So I just wanted to focus on that today. One of the coolest things when I started my spiritual journey, come on in, Andrew. We got you a place right here. We are so grateful that you're joining us in our gratitude journey. Let's see if we can get you in. We figured this would be the easier one. I don't know that it was.
Should be able to get you in.
So hold on. Let's do. There he is. We need more narrow chairs.
Very gracious for the chair. Thank you.
We need a bench.
We need a bench.
We're going to do it standing.
We do not want to do it standing.
That wouldn't work. I'm still the shortest one even.
I can do like this. It's fine. We are grateful for your stature because, like it balances it.
Is anybody on yet?
Yeah, there's people on.
Oh, okay.
So this is the YouTube, and then
this is the
YouTube channel, and then this is the Instagram.
Oh, I see. We have both.
Did you share?
Yes. Yes, I shared it.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we were talking about gratitude again, and we were saying that I was talking about the fact that like when I started my spiritual journey and when I was learning the importance of gratitude was my Reiki master shared this Dr. Emoto's study, and it was where he spoke positivity and negativity into different words into different like canisters of water, and he could look at the water because every like water has a molecular. Am I saying this right? Molecular. That one. See this? Yep. It looks different under the
microscope.
Microscope.
This is my brain. I'm getting my words.
You're in the wheelhouse.
The water crystals look very differently between the like the positive affirmations and then the negative. And we've actually tried that with my kids with rice. So you can cook rice in the same pot and put it into different jars. And one jar you could speak love and positivity and kind words, and then the other jar, same exact conditions for the rice. The other jar you can speak hateful words and nasty, and it molded. Like it turned. Yep. So that's how powerful your words are.
Have you ever heard that about like houseplants?
Absolutely.
Like saying,
I was literally just about to mention that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just like speaking positively to your houseplants can make them grow greener and faster and more full.
I'm gonna try that. They react. I'm usually just yelling at them.
The houseplants.
Why do you keep dying? So in my garden, when I'm gardening, I play like music to my garden.
Yeah, classical music. Well, I guess.
Well, mine is not classical. Mine is like Brian McKnight.
Classical 90s hip hop. Which is
I
great.
Love you, girl.
Which is great. Yeah, yeah. That's a vibe too.
It's a vibe.
All the plants have hips.
Yeah. That's where these hips came from. But no, like it's so important. And when, again, like for me, teaching my children, gratitude, not just like, hey, mommy works hard, be grateful for the things that I provide you, but just like in general, like being able to focus on that.
Right.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the negative. It's just as easy to get caught up in the things we're grateful for. When I do laundry, everyone, like I tell my other female agents this, the guys don't laugh at it as much as my girls, but my kids have so much laundry, so much, and they don't like putting it away. And so I go find the laundry and I wash the laundry and I dry the laundry and I fold the laundry. And I would find myself being so frustrated and resentful. And instead, when I fold the laundry now, I go, thank you, God, for abundance. Thank you for providing. Thank you
Right.
that my kids have all these clothes
Yeah.
that, that we're doing good.
Yeah.
I thought
I'm
you were
thankful.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You're thankful you don't have all that laundry to do?
No, go ahead. I'll see.
I thought you said you were going to talk to the laundry, and then it ends up putting itself away.
Oh yeah.
If you figure that out.
I'm thankful that I have a laundry basket I don't have to share with anybody, so my laundry can
It's
stay
just
in the
your
basket
Yeah.
until I feel like wearing it.
Oh my
I got an
gosh.
iron on a little Wi-Fi plug in my house, so I can, while I'm in the shower, I tell Alexa to start the iron. Then I go get it out of the basket and iron it real quick. It's so much better than putting it away.
So you
That's
just leave
I
it
know
in the
there's no
basket?
everybody here is like pulling their hair out, but
That's
like
impressive.
I do that every single day.
At
I
least you
love
iron
this
yours.
This shirt came straight out of the basket. As a matter of fact, I like ironed one half and then got a phone call and then got distracted and put it on. I looked in the mirror and this side was not ironed.
Oh my gosh.
It was a
that's
noticeable
awesome.
difference, so at least I know it like makes a difference. So
You one of those like portable steamers.
I have one. I have one. I think the iron is better because these are very big wrinkles. These have been in the basket. for a while.
They are crunched.
I do also dry clean because then it stays less wrinkled, right? You put starch in there.
That's
So
true,
I try to do
for
that
sure.
every couple of weeks. But
It'll kind of transition
It's
to what we're going to
expensive.
talk about in a little bit, but a portable steamer for clients, people like just moving here.
Mhm.
That'd be a nice little. Like,
That's a good
welcome
idea.
to
A
Earth.
little closing gift.
I have a really good. I got it on Amazon and just put in water, close it, pop it on. It actually works really well. I used to take it when I traveled all the time because the hotel irons are notoriously bad.
Oh my goodness, I went to go iron a dress and it literally just poured water everywhere. So I was like, well, I
Yeah.
guess I won't be wearing this.
Well, and then there's
It's a
like
mess.
rust on it, and that
Mhm.
can mess up your clothes. So
Mhm.
I just had that little steamer. It actually worked pretty well.
The
A
little
little trick
travel
to
one.
it. You got to pull on it, but it worked fine.
The things we're grateful for.
Yeah,
Right?
love
I
it.
really did like that thing. I still
And a lot of times too, when I was like leaning into the washing machine and like my back is hurting because of course I have like the XL washer machine because I have all these kids.
the commercial one.
Yeah, like literally, and I'm like to my waist, like in this,
It's
and
like
I'm
the
trying to pull it
giant
out.
white Maytag
Yes,
one.
no, it's huge. It's
Like
huge.
it's on a pneumatic pump. It like
It-
dumps out
It's
the
wild.
front.
It's wild. So, anyways, it kills my back when I'm doing that. So
Sure.
my back will start hurting. But then I'll be like, you know what? At least I'm not having a hand scrub.
Oh,
I don't have to carry this to the river, scrub it. Like I would have not. I'm sure many lifetimes ago. Like that's why I'm appreciative for this lifetime because I will have flashes of like that would be horrible.
I imagine. Can you imagine like having to carry a washboard to a river? Like you have to live close enough to it
Mhm.
and like wash your
And
clothes with
wash
a bar
it.
of soap.
That sounds
and
terrible.
get out. God knows what.
Watch out for like
Yeah.
snakes.
Make
Yeah,
sure.
there's-
Oh, look at the
There's
deer.
a buck right there. That's funny. You don't see buck very often up here.
Hey, hey.
Okay.
I
He
love
came
that.
That's
to
a little,
join
little
us.
4-pointer. Has little points up here. He was looking healthy.
Actually, when you see a buck, it means like
Not give your buck.
there's like stability
Mm.
in your life and like all that stuff.
Oh, is there?
So
Is there?
we're grateful for that
Really?
sign,
Mm-hmm.
that totem animal.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I love
like
it. I
it.
love it. So let me get back on track because Andrew, I love you, and I love that you're filling my energy, my ADHD energy. I was like, I'm just going somewhere with that. But
No problem.
we're talking about the power of gratitude and the difference it makes in our lives, especially when we're coming up. I'm going to say in real estate, a lot of times we are really on the highs. We were talking about this, like to be grateful and to sit in recognition of any of your accomplishments,
Absolutely.
big and small, right? But in real estate, a lot of times we experience these ebbs and flows.
Mhm.
It's a roller coaster. So when we're up here, we're on cloud nine. But then immediately after you close, you're like, okay, what's next? Because we eat what we kill.
Mhm.
We're not going to kill that buck today, but we eat what we kill, right? That's how sales is. So when we start going down the valley, it's real easy to start like shifting that mindset of like,
That's survival.
lacking,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
what's next, but instead, if you focus on like, nope, this is a space that I'm going to grow, I'm going to evolve, I'm going to be more intentional with my time. So when you're up here, you're super grateful, everything's where you want it to be. You start going, you're not as busy. You need to make sure you fill those spaces with gratitude of being appreciative that, hey, look, I have some time to focus on myself. I have some time to focus on my clients. And what is that? Is it on Facebook? I just said, forget
It's
y'all.
like Mission Impossible.
We're about to get a letter.
What was that?
It just auto turns off.
What is it?
It's another
camera.
recording device.
It's just DJI or whatever.
Mhm.
So this is not touching
These
the
are-
stuff.
no.
It's all not related.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
how we
it's
like to
coming
keep
back.
it.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Back in action.
It reminds me of what
Is it gimbal?
iRobot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a gimbal.
Anyways, you were talking about living in the valleys.
Yeah, so if you focus on gratitude when you're in the valleys, it brings you back up to that peak so much faster. If you're focused, your energy is what you focus it on. If you focus on the cloudy days instead of the sunny days, you're going to experience more cloudy days.
Right.
So when you're going into those valleys, if you start focusing on all the wonderful things you have, the ability to be in a career that you do get some downtime, and what you do with that downtime, it's all positive. More is abundance is going to come to you. My kids swear I'm a witch, and it's because I do rituals, but my rituals are for gratitude and release. So I have to tell you, like, I did my cinnamon ritual the first of the month. Someone asked me the other day if it only works on the first of the month. I was like, no, God in the universe doesn't do it. They're not like, oh,
Time
it's
is
a
a social
second.
construct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The reason why you do it the first of the month is to remind yourself to be intentional. And so when I do my cinnamon at my doorways, I'm praying in gratitude. And even if it's not happening at that moment, right? I'll say, God, thank you for abundance. Thank you for aligned clients. Thank you for money and opportunities flowing into this house. Thank you for love and joy and happiness. And I'll sprinkle my cinnamon, and the next day you clean it up. And
I've never heard of that.
yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
it's
That is
beautiful.
very positive.
It's a beautiful practice.
Yeah.
It's been around for a very long time
Cinnamon. Why cinnamon?
because that's what they told me to do.
Oh,
Sometimes I listen.
tradition for the sake of tradition.
Cinnamon
I'm
has
sure there's
like
a purpose.
There's purpose, but
there's so
I
many uses for it.
Until-
Like healing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
healing
sure.
wise.
Healing wise, I mean, I
I'm
could
just curious
research it.
why cinnamon. Right? I'm sure
I
there's a
don't-
good answer.
There's a phenomenal answer. I don't have that answer.
Somebody on the internet, check that for us.
Allie,
Joe Rogan always says that. Check that
Yeah.
check
for
that
us.
for us.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me go to Allie.
We put it in our coffee. I just sprinkle it on top of the ground.
Hey, I put it in chili. It's pretty good in chili.
I like it in a hot cocoa.
Oh, it's spaghetti too, but just a little, like not a
Yeah,
lot.
just
Like
a tiny
don't
little
change
bit.
it.
It just gives it looks like a little,
Don't make that face. You've eaten my cooking. I bring it in. It's pretty good.
like a
It's
little
really
like
good.
allspice kind of type.
Except that you don't use onions.
Oh, you don't use onions?
Nobody should eat onions. They taste bad for a reason. That's nature telling you not to do
I'm
it.
grateful for onions.
Like,
A lot of people add onions again for the same thing you just said, like without wondering why.
Oh, I like.
Oh, I
food
put
anyway.
onions in my recipe. You don't though. If you ate something without it and you
would
didn't know
miss
they
it.
weren't in there, you probably would not know.
It gives it so much flavor.
Yeah, it covers bad seasoning.
Yeah.
People put onions in stuff if they're bad cooks.
Okay, so you don't
No,
put onion, you
I
do
don't
not put
agree.
I
onion.
believe that that's
I
true.
don't agree with that
He's
statement.
like turning the camera off.
I think
That's
yeah, I wanna say
Andrew's
that.
last invite to the meeting. I think
I
I think
love
is
this
such-
version of
That
Andrew.
is such a generalization.
I think putting onions in just is like intentional to like cover up that
sabotage?
you are, because you're not actually seasoning the food correctly. Like if you have to put onions in, you've done something wrong. Especially raw onions.
So you put cinnamon
I will
at
die
your
on that.
doorways.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
can tell
no.
you, okay, so everyone's like, Maggie, you're on fire this month. I have 3 listings,
Yes,
everything's
you
working.
are on
Cinnamon.
fire.
I cinnamoned it. And it wasn't the cinnamon as much as it was the intention. It's that I took the time to be grateful and to pray in gratitude because the universe hears you. So if you're like, I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, bad luck comes in threes. I was like, well, if you keep saying that, absolutely.
Well, of course.
But that's the energy because after
Sure.
one bad thing happens, people expect it to happen 2 more times. Well,
Right.
guess what it does? Because that's the energy you put out there. If you're like, no, like I'm blessed, abundance flows to me, like I'm grounded, I have everything I need and more. God, this or something better. That's exactly what happens. It's energy.
But I think
What do you?
something that I was not actively doing was being really intentional about it. Because like you can have all this like negative thought really easy, kind of just
Mhm.
like going through your head. But then like yesterday, I was like I told you I was super frustrated, like with the kids all day. They were so, I don't know. There's something in
It was a
there.
lot.
They're going wild,
Mhm.
which is great. I love it. I'm like engaged. And
Mhm.
then finally, like 3 or 4 o'clock, I was like, oh my god.
Because you're human.
So then I was
Right.
like, we're gonna be good. I'm gonna feel good, and I felt a little bit better after.
Yeah, I mean that helps so much. Like there are like y'all all know I have been struggling with things with Izzy and with school and her being bullied. And when I tell you, like I before I did every single thing, I prayed in gratitude that what I wanted the outcome to be already was. So before I went into my meeting with the school, and again, I have been getting ignored. And then finally, I made a call and was like, "Hey, you better let them know that this is not a great path with me." And so I got caught off guard. Like, don't
It's
ignore
an
me.
understatement.
Yeah.
That was a very nice way for you to put it.
Very nice.
I kept being ignored. And so when they finally called me, I didn't have time to set my intention for that call. And I like have evolved to this place. So if you catch me off guard, you might get a different version of me before I ground myself and set my intention and
Yep.
have, my
Sure.
rituals, right?
Yeah.
So before making the meeting and the presentation, I prayed in gratitude and said, "Thank you for just allowing this to be easy." Because the guys know, like presentations and that type of stuff, it has in my past been a challenge for me, and it's something that I'm growing and evolving in that space. So I sat with this presentation and was like, you know what, thank you for all the answers coming to me very easily. Thank you for me being able to put this together where it makes sense. Thank you that, it's going to be exactly what it needs to be. And so then I dove in, and it was while the conversations, actually, the principal that I was supposed to be meeting with called me during the time I was sitting down. I spoke to another teacher that was a mentor for the school. She happened to connect with me during that time. And again, sitting down at my desk, this is when this was happening on a random Saturday afternoon,
Right.
like when these people typically wouldn't have reached out. So I get through that. And then when it's the day to have the meeting, I sat in the parking lot and was just like, thank you, God, that everything is going to flow out of my mouth so clearly and concisely, that my words are going to be exactly what they need to be to get across the importance of this. Thank you, God, for letting me have an open mind and us, to be able to collaborate for the greater good of all of these children and adults in this building, because that is my intention. The meeting went amazing, better than I could have even expected it to go. So the next week, we were still having issues with Izzy and bullying, and I was frustrated. I did not show up as my best self. I did set my intention, but that day, my intention was kind of like war. I was over it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not, and to the point that the principal pulled me to the side afterwards. She was like, "What is different today?" I was like, "I'm angry," like, because I'm human.
Understandable.
I'm human. When I tell you that I left there and I did, because I didn't like how I showed up necessarily, because it wasn't my highest vibrational self. It was more of my warrior self. And I was just like, God, thank you for aligning her with good friends. Thank you for the teacher's understanding. I know I didn't show up as my best self today, but thank you for allowing them to process this. When I tell you, Izzy has met so many friends. She has not been bullied at all. She has met so many friends. She met a friend in the neighborhood, like now that she's sitting out. She's
It's
never,
amazing.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and again, it's the power of positivity. Even if you are a non-believer, right? That's okay. That's fine. Do it as a placebo effect. Just
Well,
see what works for you.
I could say, I don't pray, right?
Yeah.
That's not me. But
Yeah.
I do believe firmly that the way you talk to yourself
Mhm.
will influence the outcome.
Absolutely.
And through our friendship and your leadership, I've just been more conscientious of, am I really down, or am I just talking down? And I think like, we all go through our cycles and our hormones, and like some days are better than others, right? I mean, I think everybody would say that. But
Yeah.
I think from a consistent perspective, you are consistently optimistic. And
Mhm.
I really think you make that not only part of your process, but I think that really defines you as a person. And so I often think, like, is it me? Like, am I just finding the negative in this? And just a very subtle shift of mindset and perspective
Mhm.
will change my whole mood very quickly. And that happens, and I do that because of you, and because I want to be better, right? There's no point in living in that.
No.
It doesn't really benefit you to have anxiety or dread or doubt or any of the things that
all.
come with pessimism.
At all.
And it does benefit you and pretty much every other way of life to put that energy into. I mean, it's the same energy either way, right?
Yeah.
So, I am constantly thinking about like the way that I speak to myself as a form of positivity and gratitude, and I appreciate you for that.
Oh, I received that. And I think
I
how we
love
talk,
that.
and that's your energy. I guess that's my point. Like when I talk about what I do, that's for me. Spirituality or positivity or being grateful doesn't have to be attached to a religion whatsoever, right? And you can believe in like nothing, even just believing in yourself, your energy. Typically, if you believe in not a higher power, you're more of a scientific type brain. So that's why I go back to the water test and the rice test. It's that energy. One thing we know to be true in life, the only thing that truly can't be destroyed is energy. It can't be created nor destroyed. So when you understand that you are energy and the energy that you put into yourself is how you show up as others. I can tell you that I have not always been this way. And there are people that, don't want to accept the evolution. But if someone was around me from my past who, I mean, again, I've always been a kind-hearted person, but I could be really negative. I had
Absolutely.
crippling anxiety. Like and I realized that didn't serve me. So the whole energy thing is like, you're pouring that back into yourself. You're showing others. Another thing is if you're always grateful, if someone's around you that's always negative, like you're not going to align because they're either going to like you're going to get on their
Absolutely.
nerves, right? Because you're always positive. And it again, it's, right?
I know people like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, some people
It's
just
like
wanna
now
be
you're just
negative.
naive.
Yeah.
Like I can't stand being around.
Be
you
a
so
little
happy.
skeptical.
Yeah.
It's okay to assume the best, but be a little skeptical.
Well, yeah, and again, but you could still like want things to be good, right? And there's all things that we don't like about ourselves. Like all you can do is be grateful for what is today and build on that.
Mhm.
That's all you can do. But in real estate, let's focus on gratitude in real estate. A lot of times we get negative talk, like, why is this not working? Or, oh my goodness, I can't believe how many conversations I have a day of like, oh, everything always falls through for me. Like, why is this my luck? Why do I always have these type of clients? Why? Well, that's the energy, unfortunately. And that's a hard conversation to say, because there's certain things that you're going to need to go through in your journey, right? Sometimes it's in the beginning of your career, sometimes the middle, sometimes the end, sometimes sprinkled, but you're going to go through certain situations. How you handle the situation, you are in control of you. You're not in control of anything else, right? But if you energetically are always negative, you're going to continue to attract negative experiences.
100%.
Or you're not going to be able to take the lesson, the positivity out of that situation.
I would add one thing.
Okay.
I think if you ever talk to any real estate agent and they tell you that every month I've ever had in real estate has been great, it's their first month. Like if I've been an agent for a little over 3 years now. Like there are some months that make you wonder, like, how did I get into this career? Like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now.
I tell new agents, I'm like, you're gonna have months where you feel like you're never going to sell another house.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
like that's it. Like I hit my quota for my life, and that's it.
Yeah, it just goes completely cold, and it's not because you've done anything wrong. It's not because your system changed. It's just there's cyclical. It's a cyclical business, and I think the other piece is like there are also certain people who they're gonna have whatever career they're in. They're gonna find the worst in it, right? I think real estate's one of those things. Like, hey, if you're ever down and out, remember you don't have to go do anything anybody tells you to tomorrow. You are choosing what to do with your day. So first and foremost, what can you do different and try to be better? And I talk about accountability all the time. Like that's, if I was going to teach a class on changing your life, it would be about accountability, right? Which would be different than gratitude because it often involves like a very real conversation with yourself and sometimes isn't as positive. But what I would say to anybody is if you're struggling to get up and enjoy what you're doing tomorrow, you work for yourself.
That's a you problem.
The company culture is
You.
Like you're the CEO, you're the CFO, you're chief marketing officer, you're HR, you're the sales staff, you're the employee. I mean, fix it. Like go do it different tomorrow. And if you don't like it,
Right.
do it different the next day. And I think I tell new agents this all the time. This is a thankless job. Like you know, you can be buyer side, you can be listing side, you can be referral agent, whatever. Like it is often thankless. Like a lot of people don't realize in real estate, you know, we are more than just agents. You are the therapist, you are the communicator, you are the project manager, you are the divorce counselor in some cases. Like it's a lot of that stuff, and nobody stops to thank you and
sitter,
hand
dog
you money
walker.
for that.
Dog
Dog
walker.
walker, God, I've done that. Leaf blower, you know, I replaced concrete in somebody's steps the other day. So like, there is never going to be a time where you get paid for what you do. The gratitude part in real estate, I think, plays a big part of it. You don't have to, you know, I was corporate for well over 10 years. I'll just be really transparent here. Never having to go to a meeting that had no purpose ever again carries a tremendous amount of value in my heart.
You're so grateful for
It's so great. No, I mean, at least they're doing something. And then when we leave, everybody has something to do. And at the end of that, you know, the next time we sit down, we have done it. And it had, you know, how many meetings I went to where it was a meeting to talk about a meeting in preparation for a meeting, and like, gee, you know, I'll watch my language, but no, like that's not great. Working on projects that never went anywhere, conference calls that serve no purpose, like just the sheer amount of red tape and bureaucracy, just is soul sucking for me. Like I felt me losing myself. Now I did like some parts of it, right? I like the structure, I like the order, I like the networking, and so I keep those parts, you know. And I
probably
choose
the
to do those.
consistency too.
Yeah, and I choose to do those in my own life because I liked those parts of it, right? And so, you know, when I think about real estate, are there things I could do better? Absolutely, always. But I also am so grateful for what I do not have to do. And you know, I think a lot of people don't realize that.
No, they don't.
You can go work a 9 to 5. Yeah, you'll get that paycheck. It's going to cost you a lot more than money. Like your freedom, you know, your sanity, what you stand for, your conviction. You don't get a say in any of that stuff anymore. Even companies that are very pro, like, we want employee satisfaction. That means a pizza party at the end of the year. And you only get it if you did what we told you to.
I was like,
Yeah.
Me too. Very recently.
They're like, we're getting Moe's. I'm like,
Right.
woo!
Yeah. The number of times the executives would say, we're listening. Oh, by the way, here's a new policy that shows you that we did not listen at all. Was like, it's such a regular thing. And, you know, you can turn a blind eye and you can be thankful. And some people should be consistent. Like real estate's not for everybody in the same sense that like, if this is not a place you can get to, you know, if you took the shot and it's not something you're comfortable with, that's okay too. But you know, if it is something you really are passionate about and you want to do, just remember, like, change it. You know, if you don't like where you are, change it tomorrow. There's no reason to not enjoy what you're doing in this career. It is literally your choice.
It's an amazing choice.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about how as you get into a leadership position, you start to forget a lot about your personal business.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And which is unfortunate because we're at the point where we're really good at it. We're really good at sales. We're really good at listing homes.
Yeah.
And I looked and I was like, wow, my sales are way down. What am I going to do to change that? You know, I'm not going to be claiming leads and all of that. What I did was I'm writing personal letters to people constantly. I'm running Facebook ads, I'm creating more videos, doing all those things that I've thought. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to do.
And now you have the time to do it.
And now I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, like, for, you know, pulling us back into that, like, the gratitude space is that, you know, when we realize the things that we like about what we're doing and we focus heavily on those versus negativity or, like, you know, where we want to be, if we're grateful for the things that just are, then, you know, we're able to continue to motivate ourselves to be in a good headspace. Because when you're in a bad headspace, you're not good to anybody. You're not being good to yourself. You're not being good to people around you. Or if you're in a headspace of, like, you know, lack of abundance, like when you're desperate, we say, like, commission breath or whatever. If you're just grateful for the engagement with that person, like, hey, you haven't really had a good connection. I'm finally going out the show, you know, like, let me make the most of that, you know, and just being grateful that for that experience, that changes your energy and you're going to continue to attract more people. But if it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything. I've been showing these people forever. Like, I'll tell people, like, listen, at some point they're going to buy, and I have, like, I'm closing this Friday on someone I've been showing for 2 years, a little over 2 years. We started off looking at high end. Well, we started off looking like mid-range lake homes, and then we moved. We were going to have an investor come in with them, like there were going to be two families buying, and they decided that we were looking at really expensive lake homes, and as a salesperson, that's our money is attached to commission, right? That was like, oh, okay, well, look, it was worth the wait. Well, then like some time passed, and they realized maybe that's not their first step. We're closing on an investment lake property that is a fraction of what we first started at, but most salespeople would be discouraged. On the other hand, I'm like, I love that I'm going to be able to walk them through this, to teach them how to, make make money with real estate. And I know eventually they're going to buy that lake house that they have been dreaming of. So it's
with the income.
Yeah, with it from the passive income, because they'll have that security that they're like, okay, this is my second home, and this will basically pay for this. I'm here for it. I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful that they've stuck with me for the same amount of time that I've stuck with them, because a lot of things has changed in 2 years in real estate, so a lot. So, you know what I mean? Like, again, versus like some people's mindsets would be like, man, I thought this was going to be this. And instead, like, I've met really cool people that I'm learning and growing from, that I know that like they have been so loyal to me and I've been loyal to them. And I'm going to continue that. And it's not going to be one transaction. It's going to be multiple, because I'm going to treat them good. So I think that's just so important, because a lot of times people focus on the wrong thing.
Whenever I'm onboarding new agents, but I always talk about this in follow-up meetings too. Celebrate the small wins, right? The commission check's not the only win.
Just talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So no, it's good.
No, let's talk about it.
It's super important.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, did you, especially when we're talking like method leads, right? This is a great example. So anybody who's a method knows this, right? If you get a lead and you got first name, last name, phone number, email address, and you call and they confirm like, yeah, this is Andrew. That is a win, right? Like, okay.
Yes.
Is that paying your electric bill this month? No.
Eventually it will, though.
But if you don't get that information, it's also not paying your electric bill. And we're getting closer to that.
Yeah.
So I like to think of those little things as like, hey, if you don't find a way to celebrate little wins on a regular basis, you will drive yourself crazy. You will only see the big ones. Okay, let's say you're a great agent. Let's say you sell 20 houses this year, right? Let's do 24. Let's say you do 2 a month. Great agent, right? I would say that's top 5% in Atlanta easily, right? That is only 24 times a year that you're happy. That's miserable. Right. So like, you can't really do that. That's not sustainable. That sounds like torture to me. You should have a couple wins every day. Getting those people's names, getting that email responses, getting that follow-up, scheduling that meeting, getting that listing appointment, celebrate that stuff. It doesn't have to equal a check every time for it not to be worth your while. And I think that's a lot of people overlook that. But if you come into that first meeting with Maggie's energy, with Carrie's energy, and I think mine too.
Your energy is amazing.
When you come into that meeting and it's like, oh, I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to help you. This is a great opportunity for us to talk. Right now is a good time. So whatever it is that you bring to that meeting, they will pick up on that. Yep. If it looks like it's 3 months until you get your check and you show up like, yeah, no, hopefully you buy soon because things are tough for me. Like,
I'm sure people.
I literally cannot imagine somebody being my agent.
Gas is expensive, guys. You got like 3 trips.
We
got to make this
We
quick.
can look till December 1st, but my mortgage is due, and I am not driving you after that.
House Hunter says you get three houses.
3 showings.
You only get 3. But no, like you have to, and again,
put it in their perspective, like make it, what would excite you and give you that opportunity? Like jump out of your chair to work with that person. Mm-hmm. If you're not that person, do you really deserve that opportunity? Exactly. I think that's another thing. So.
Well, and piggybacking off of that, I was just having a conversation with an agent about pricing a house and the things that we needed to do to get the house where it needed to be, and where it should be priced at, and being able to go back to her seller and explain this, because what is our challenge currently? Interest rates. Mm-hmm. So if you plug in numbers and you look at a house that is, we'll just say 400,000. What is that? My numbers guy, what is that in a mortgage right now?
400,000 at 7%, 5% down, looking at like 3,500 a month, 3,700,
Yeah,
something
okay.
like that.
Yeah,
So,
minimum,
mid
depending on taxes. and all that.
3,500,
Yeah,
right?
3,500.
So if you think about it from a buyer's perspective of, hey, I'm going to pay $3,500 a month for this house. What can we do to make this house worth it? So from a listing side, as a buyer side, we have our own challenges. From a listing side, it's your job to, go in and say, hey, listen, like, first of all, I'm so grateful for the opportunity and that, you trust my expertise, and I want to guide you on, the other side. Of course, you can see it from your perspective, but let's look at it from a buyer's perspective. And this is what we need to do to get this house here and where we can walk in and go, yep, this is worth $3,500 a month. You know how grateful they are for that, because that house isn't going to sit on the market.
Yeah.
That house is going to get sold because we've looked at it from a different perspective. And then, it's that energy of like, listen, it's not about me, it's about you, and, how I can maximize your equity, how we can get this house sold, how this can be a great experience, and they're, again, back to, they're grateful. And I mean, I've ran up against some pretty strong personalities in my real estate career, but if I set my intention of, again, what I do is say, thank you for allowing me to explain this clearly and concisely where it makes sense to them. They are so, like, I've had some of the most hard ass clients that I get referred because if someone's husband's difficult, the lady next to him will be like, oh, you need to call Maggie because she can deal with your difficult husband.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I've gotten those too.
Yeah. And again, people are like,
That's awesome.
isn't that stressful? And I'm like, no, because I know that, like, if I set my intention, at the end of the day, that husband or the wife or whoever's difficult in the transaction, typically by the end of the day, they're going to know, like, I did everything I could, and they're going to be grateful for me, and they're going to continue referring me for their pessimistic clients. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, because to me, yes, I'm selling your house, but I hope that you learn something else from that, and that energy exchange is so beautiful.
Mhm.
And so, like, on my days that I am coming against adversity in real estate, whether it be a client or an agent or just like, just things falling through, because that happens. If I go like, nope, I know my goal with real estate. I know that it's not just about buying and selling homes. Like, for me, I'm in real estate because I genuinely care so much for people, and
Right.
home is so important to me. And that if I'm able to help them either learn how to make money from real estate, or just giving them stability and security, or maybe their home, nobody in their family has ever owned a home before, and the value of like building generational wealth and being able to teach your kids that, that's why I'm in real estate. So at the end of the day, my energy isn't about that closing. Yes, I like closing because that's what pays my bills. But if I go into it with that mindset, I'm probably not going to close as much. If I go into the mindset that, like, my intention within my career is to do good to others, they're going to feel that from me. And I do get a lot of clients that, like, are so grateful, and that's not even like their nature necessarily.
Absolutely.
Or like when we come up against adversity, I'm like, it's okay, I got this. Like, I'm able to navigate that for them. And then they're a little more optimistic.
Mhm.
And so for me in real estate, like, I'm so grateful for those experiences. So when I'm in like a negative space, I go back to that and like, okay, girl, this is what you're good at. Like, you can navigate this. You got this. Thank you for God giving me these solution finding skills and this, and I reground myself with gratitude,
For sure. Absolutely. And
I might be, I'm grateful that that's not my husband. And I
Well-
only got to do with him to
well,
close it.
exactly.
Maybe that's the gratitude,
Exactly.
but I'm still going to be grateful.
It's just-
And that's
some people are listening.
And that's
we're
a
not.
really good point, because I'd say a majority of couples, whether they're selling or buying,
Mhm.
are not on the same page.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Whatever differences, neighborhoods, areas, whatever it is,
Mhm.
especially selling a home.
Mhm.
It's like usually one person wants to sell it, one doesn't.
Mhm.
And typically when that person is calling you for help, they're
Mhm.
saying, hey, this is what I want to do. I need help
Navigating that.
navigating. So the trust that you build with that person that reached out,
Mhm.
that you can actually step in, and not that you're ganging up on anybody, but you're bringing clarity to the situation.
Mhm.
I mean, that's how you create I always call them raving fans.
Mhm.
The person that's going to refer you 8 people in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
not the easy transactions that, the ones without, which they're rare, that the seamless transactions are rare. It's not those that build those amazing referrals.
Right.
It's the ones with the challenges. So it's like, how do you get through the challenges? You have to focus on, your skill set, your gratitude, your, that I would say in real estate, the biggest thing is people think about, real estate. Oh, I can find a house, like I found the house. If you're a good realtor, it's because your problem solving abilities, your ability to look at a situation where everybody else would be like, it's not possible, and look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, find it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that positivity of being able to look at a situation and find the solution and being honest and clear about that. That's what makes you, I feel like, a good realtor.
Yep.
Another thing is like, right, we're talking about all these clients and how we're able to show them that we're grateful for them. Like, I know, again, a lot of times people will close a transaction, most times, not more than a lot. I mean, most times people are in real estate are transaction-based realtors. You will not say that client you shoot, even if they're the biggest pain in the ass, you should be grateful because there's a lot of other people they could have chosen and that you had that experience that you could have learned and grown from. So you should always, even your difficult clients, even, ones that you're like, I don't know if I want to, still be grateful for them, right? Say, like, I still want to focus on the fact that you trusted me with probably the most expensive transaction you've ever had. And, like, we know how challenging that can be. So like Carrie came up with a good list of things that you could do to show your gratitude and stay engaged with your clients. So you want to hit those, Care Bear?
Call me Bear.
Care Bear.
Everyone calls me Bear.
I know, it just is so good.
Sounds
It's
like
so
it's a good
fitting.
Someone else called me.
I call you Care Bear all the time.
One of the agents I was onboarding, she said that. It was really funny.
It's very soothing.
So everyone knows I
It's
love
so sweet.
I love videos. I love sending people videos because people watch them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think, people watch videos. I'm much more likely to open up an email because I look at the emails. But if there's a video, I'm probably going to click on it just to see like what it is. Send customized personal videos to your previous clients. And I didn't even think about that because I was like right when I first read it, I was like kind of interesting. But people are busy. It's almost impossible to, I mean, especially if you have 150 past clients. How could you ever? Shawnee does it somehow. She goes and just delivers.
Shawnee is like
pies and
super
stuff.
woman.
I don't know how she does it because I tried doing that one time and it was a miserable failure for me.
To go visit?
To coordinate everyone coming in within a couple of days. People are busy. They say they'll come and all that. Create a completely personalized video and send it to them, just thanking them. Say, hey, I'd love to get together. I know it's busy, but I thank you for our transaction 5 years ago or whatever it is.
I think that would be really good as I'm thinking about video because I'm not big on clicking on videos, but I know some people are really they're very visual. You could also do that as a voice note on a text.
True. Very true.
Yep. So I feel like, that personal engagement of hearing it rather than it being just an email with typing. I think a video definitely within your email is more personal or doing a voice note because, that way they hear you and it's not just a text. Hey, how you doing?
I agree.
So I think that's
absolutely
that's a great idea. Actually, I'm gonna use that.
I like that one. Or you can text them a video also.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's someone where you had a good transaction, but you're not
talking all the time.
Yeah.
Re-engage them.
Not every transaction you build that friends forever feeling.
Yeah.
Some
Sometimes it's just
are
transactions.
they're a little bit more distant.
And so I'll reach out to them and I'll text them hey, how's it going? They're like, wonderful, great, talk to you later.
Or they don't respond.
Yeah, that's it. And
I'll call you when I need you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Then you're doing a lot of self-reflecting.
Yeah, you're like, God, do they hate me? It's no, they don't. They're just.
Yeah,
they don't need you till they need you.
That is the biggest thing with real estate. Most times people don't need you till they need you. So what's another one? Oh, this one's a good one. Andrew, you do this too. Have that one.
Well, so it's holiday season, and every year, all of the method agents have access to get holiday cards for every
They're
single
here, by the way.
customer. They're here.
We
You're a
provide.
method agent.
We
Yes.
provide them. It's
Check the
awesome.
company-wide Slack channel. So if you don't, this is a super easy, almost free way. I mean, you pay for a stamp, and I will write a handwritten note to every single buyer and seller I've ever had, and I have a list that I've kept for every year, and I have their, their new address. If they move out of state, I still mail it to them.
Mhm.
If they purchase multiple properties, obviously send it to their regular home address, what have you. But
Yeah, remember,
I've done that before.
don't send it to
Send
someone's
it to the
investment
rental.
property.
Yeah, I've done that
Yeah,
too. But send them a
I've
note
probably done that.
about your year. So, tell them a little bit about what's been going on. Tell them something personal. Reflect on a memory.
Mhm.
I was in the neighborhood recently and was thinking about that time we had lunch at this place. We should go back soon. It means so much to actually feel like this person who was part of your transaction
Thinks of you.
does not consider you just a paycheck. And I think, again, like if you think of them as a paycheck, you are completely wrong.
Mhm.
That is the opposite of what they are.
And you
this
won't
is-
get their business again.
Yeah.
that
They'll
that's
feel that
nice.
energy.
but they're not like above that. These are human beings with dreams and goal and ambition. And like I personally would like I've written people off so quick because I feel like they do not care about my best interest. And years can go by,
Mhm.
and I get those outreach emails and all the time, and I'm just like, unless I believe that's changed, we're not going to do business together.
Mhm.
So, for me, and I mean, I'm not a particularly like, grudge holding person,
Mhm.
but if I don't believe that you're going to understand the nuance of our decision making process, I'm not going to believe that you're operating in my best interest.
Yeah.
So it's all about like creating that nuanced relationship. And I think, writing that card every single year for me is that moment of reflection to think about the transaction, the customer, what were they going through at the time? When was the last time I spoke to them?
Also, cheesy. It's the time that you get to sit in your gratitude.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's a
like
lot
that.
of gratitude at once for sure. Like that's a
Yeah.
lot of transactions to go through.
Yeah,
I don't even know how many it's up to right now, but
Like,
70,
And that's
80, something
awesome.
like that.
oh yeah. And I was gonna mention so not long ago I started journaling,
Mhm.
and I wrote a personal letter to somebody, and it was such a different feeling because I had been journaling, I kind of
Mhm.
been speaking and
Yeah.
doing all that, and
You're doing the work.
it was really cool because it was therapeutic,
Sure.
essentially sending it to them. Speaking about handwritten letters, because none of us do it enough. I remember the first client that ever sent me a written letter thanking me.
Yeah.
That means so much.
I'll
Right.
never forget it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No.
I've got it. I've got it in
I
my
bet.
home office.
Wow.
I was going to say you should frame it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
don't get a lot, and then I got another one a couple months ago. It was Leanne too. She did it also, and it was that mine?
Oh, it's probably this phone up here.
Oh, it's probably my phone. Hold on, let me make sure. I put it on
Is it
do not
vibrating?
disturb.
Roses.
Oh yeah, it's freeze. That's what it is. It's frozen. There you go. It's back.
There you go.
And you zoomed in on that. So.
Oh, zoom out.
You
I
think
think you
you're
need
in
to do the
America
wide,
right
wide
now?
angle.
Zoom out.
And zoom out.
Sorry, guys. There you go. Perfect.
But me pointing because there's a lag.
Yeah, there it is.
There we
All right,
go.
we're caught back up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that just taking the time to not only acknowledge them as people,
Mhm.
to share the memories, and then just like have a reason to reconnect. I mean, God, like $500,000, $1 million, that's a lot of money, and they're going to be there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Wouldn't it be great if the impact that you left on their life was something that they talked about on a regular basis, right? Like just think about like having that opportunity in someone's life like this. You don't get that in a lot of jobs. You don't get that in a lot of professions in general. Rarely.
If you're a therapist.
Right, your therapist. Think about your doctor, right? Oh, he saved our lives,
Yeah.
right? Sure, yeah, that's a big one, right? But I think the real estate transaction can be one.
Absolutely.
It was easy. They got through it. It was so hard. We made it, and blah blah. You don't. I met somebody on Saturday who they just had nothing but bad things to say about their agent. And I was like, well, tell me the story. Like, I'm curious, right? And they told me their perspective, and let's just say it sounds like that agent did not act in their best interest. That's my understanding of the story, and I shared that with them, and they were like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I was like, well, it's unfortunate since that's the
Your
exact
experience.
job.
Sucks.
That's
Yeah.
the exact job, right?
Yeah.
So it just makes me feel bad because like, okay, congrats, you got your paycheck. That person's never going to send you business. They're not going to use you on their next transaction. And they're probably going to tell other people not to use you too, which God knows what that costs you as well. It just doesn't make sense why you'd be in this profession and have this career and just care that little for, the overall experience that people have. I mean, this is a customer service job first and foremost, right?
And again, it's not just customer service, it's a highly emotional, expensive customer service job. And going back to like what you were saying about the first letter you ever received and how like it meant so much to you, like the same. They feel the same way, that like that we care enough to reach back out and that we thought of them, or like we're like, hey, let me see what's going on with your house. Like, what are the updates? Like yours, that it wasn't to them like just a transaction. And so I think sometimes we get so busy and we think about we don't have time to do that. But honestly, like really that's what we're here to do, is to have time to make meaningful connections.
Yeah.
100%.
Like who doesn't have time to do that?
And we have time to be on social media. We have time to
Open your settings and tell me how many hours a day you spend on it.
I turn that setting off so it doesn't remind me.
Because it's ugly, right?
Because it's terrible.
Mine's the same way.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And
you're building your business.
You are. And again, another thing is like, okay, so I have this listing that went live, and we used them at the makeover, and we got it deep cleaned and had carpets clean, and the sellers had done a good job on the house. But I had a feeling that I knew some things that got missed with the deep cleaning. And so I went over there, 9:00 at night after I did everything, and wiped down the doors a little better, the columns. And I know a lot of people will be like, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that. That's not my job.
That used to be me.
Oh my gosh, that's never been me. I am so grateful. Like when I do that, I'm so grateful. No, I'm like, to me that like when I'm taking on a house, like that's our house. And I'm like, I'm grateful that you trust me to come into the house and make it be what it needs to be. So like those type of things, like, he didn't even know I did that. Like he didn't know that I went back and made sure everything was, but for me, like it was just a moment of gratitude that I'm grateful that like I got that referral, and that, their situation is what it is. And I know that they can't go back and do that. And I wouldn't want them to even do it. So literally as I'm wiping down, and how I am about like rituals and stuff like that, I've saged the house for you. We need to resage the house. By the way. But we need to go put some more positivity in it.
Burn cinnamon too? Like what is
Look, let's put cinnamon, sage, Palo Santo, whatever else we need to do.
Yeah.
But
Gems.
we needed more time with that.
Righteous
It could have been I wasn't in the greatest of moods that day. But
that's true.
it could be.
We might have desaged it.
We might do the opposite. So anyways, where were we going with that? Who knows? Who knows where we're going? But again, it's about
being thankful for the opportunity.
Even for things that we don't love doing.
Oh, cleaning the house.
Cleaning the house. Like if I was wiping down my own walls, I would have to like remind myself, be grateful you have a house and that you have a door and that you have a cleaning supplies. But no, I was grateful that I was able to go over there and help them. Like that, living in gratitude and positivity is such a bucket filler. Like you feel so much better about life.
Can I say that like I think our lives are too easy? Like we could talk about this a lot. I mean, I don't mean to like
maybe from your perspective.
Let's drop our kids off.
I think
our kids off at your house.
I think that like a lot of people, like the life is so easy that they completely lose sight of how easy they are.
No, I totally agree. When we're talking about taking the clothes to the washer board, we have a lot of first world problems.
We do. And I think I meet a lot of people that are very unhappy, and then I like outside looking in, I'm like, how? You have everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You have several of everything. Mm-hmm. You've never wanted for food or shelter or love or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I've done without in some certain things at certain points in my life. And I certainly take for granted sometimes, but I also try to take a moment to like remember, like sometimes when life is hard, that's a good thing. Like that's maybe not the worst way to live.
It's a time to sit and reflect on all the blessings we have.
Let's not forget. Let's not forget. We like. I don't mean for this to be philosophical, but like we came from caves, like with fire, and people got berries.
Animals.
Right. Some people may not agree. That's fine. But like, I'm just saying, like, we are very damn comfortable, and I think that like that level of comfort can sometimes blind you to what we actually need to be doing with ourselves. And if it's so comfortable that everything seems easy, you will often feel very ungrateful. I'm 100% convinced of that.
All you have to do
Yeah.
is go down and
100%.
volunteer at any sort of shelter,
Yeah.
women's shelter, homeless
Yeah.
shelter. Today we're going to do it tomorrow, but we're going to drop off coats because
They
that
weren't
was on
open.
me. They weren't open. But we're going to drop off coats for foster children, and again, just having gratitude for
Don't be
where our
distracted.
2 feet stand today.
Yeah, I
Right?
remember I was having a conversation with somebody last year, and they talked about I grew up in the slums of Alpharetta. I was like, first of all,
There are no
there
slums.
never were, and there haven't been, and there never probably
Slums.
will be. But I was like, let's take a little trip
What?
down to Pine Street and let's go volunteer at the shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's take some time out of the year and let's go down
Yep.
there. And they would not do it, right? And I was just like, it's fine, like your prerogative, it's your life. But I promise you, like the sheer amount of things that you overlook every single day that are right in front of you all day, every day. We greatly take that stuff for granted, I think.
I can tell you, just when I run out of paper towels,
It feels like a night.
it feels like a nightmare. And if that's my biggest problem, is
Yeah.
whether or not Costco, I remember to get my case of paper towels from
Yeah.
Costco.
I know this isn't for everybody, but like when I feel the most grateful is when I'm backpacking and I have the absolute least. So if you've never been backpacking before,
That's the truth.
it is, under 30 pounds on your back is what you take to survive.
Mhm.
And I mean that. Like, think about think like right now you have a chair. I did not carry a chair
Mhm.
on the Appalachian Trail.
Mhm.
You sit on your shoes at the end of the day,
That's
right? Or if you have a mattress pad.
Think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have. There's no refrigerator.
Mm.
You don't have
Right.
cold water. It's cold when it comes out of the creek.
Mhm.
If you don't like the water that you have and you want to go get a LaCroix, there aren't any.
Mhm.
You want a beer, there's no beer. You want a cheeseburger, there's no cheeseburgers. It's whatever's in that bag.
The dehydrated
The
bag.
dehydrated meals. And so go
If you want to cook
weeks.
something, you have to get everything together to make the fire.
I'll tell you something, go weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks without any luxuries and the simple stuff, what you really truly need to survive becomes enough.
Yeah.
And I never really I've been backpacking with a bunch of guys and on like day 5, day 7, it's like, man, I'd kill for a steak, I'd kill for a cheeseburger. And I'm like, don't do that to yourself.
Mhm.
Because if you focus on that, then you're not going to
You're not gonna
enjoy
take
the next
experience.
5 days, which is
Right.
when you're going to have a chance to get one, right? So I say that to say, like, when I have absolutely nothing that is remotely close to a luxury, I feel the most content with like the least amount of things.
Mhm.
And there's something to be said for that, I think.
Well, like I grew up on the south side of
Absolutely.
Atlanta, and I never knew people to be depressed. I didn't know about anyone's sort of needs as far as no one was depressed. You didn't have time to be depressed.
Right.
You were surviving. You didn't have, and people were actually depressed, but no one sat in their depression. You didn't have that luxury. Like when people lose their shit, right? When people have challenges with things and they're able to actually go to a rehab, I'm like, wow, you must have people I know who went through things in life. That's not where they ended up.
Right.
They ended up in different places to figure things out.
Yeah.
But it's like almost like we take so much for granted. We take the luxuries that we have for granted. And so that's why I always want to circle back to gratitude, just being grateful for what is, being grateful for the sun on your face, being grateful for the ability to figure things out. Like again, like your health, just being grateful for your health. It's just so freaking important. But getting back on track to real estate.
Yeah.
It's all
related, but I feel like it's important to, what we're saying, to express that to our clients because they didn't have to choose us. We didn't have to work with them and they didn't have to choose us. Right. And so just showing them that we're so appreciative for them. And again, like being thought of as it feels good. You're gonna fill their bucket. It fills your bucket. Like being good to people feels good. Having a conversation and helping somebody navigate a hard time feels good. And I always think it's important to go back, like after you have that experience, and reflect on the gratitude that you have gone through things and you've acquired skills through going through things, and that you're able to not gatekeep and you're able to teach and allow other people to tap into your knowledge through your life experiences. Like being grateful for that
Yep.
is like you want to keep doing it, like you want to keep pouring into people,
Yeah, it's true.
Well, it feels good. Something that I tell my boys all the time is make sure every day you go and compliment people.
Be kind.
Someone's hair looks good, tell them their hair looks good. If you like someone's dress, like that,
Yeah,
all that. And
It feels good.
you haven't done it in a while.
And I do it every day. You just haven't been out.
I haven't
with me.
seen you do it. In a while.
I do it all the time. I
we
love
went
it.
out to eat. Harrison, my middle one, he looks at the waitress. He was like, I like your dress.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
nice.
And she was like, oh my God.
makes
Right,
it feel
what a
so good.
gentleman.
Because
What a
it's so
gentleman.
genuine.
Yeah.
Trying to pull numbers. No, but it is. It is. And it's the same.
It's swaggy.
It's that
He is.
same
Oh, he is.
mentality
Mhm.
that we experience when working with clients.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with, every 6 months calling someone and just say, hey, I want to thank you again for using me. How's everything going? All of that
Have you
stuff.
done anything with a house?
Yeah.
Right.
all of
People
it.
love talking about the things they've done.
Oh my gosh.
They put their time and energy into that.
They always give you a list.
Mhm.
Everybody's got the list.
And
It's
that's awesome. Like they
Write this
care
down.
enough to share that.
Yeah.
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 The first time I went and had lunch with Maggie, she I was caught off guard, right? Because Maggie,
Energy.
no, she yes, but she stopped this woman that was walking past us. I can't remember exactly what happened, but you were like, I just want to tell you that sweater is beautiful and it matches your eyes and you look amazing. And that was above a compliment, right? It was very intentional. And that woman's lit up. Right. It was like a light switch. She was like, oh my God, thank you so much. That meant so much to her. And I remember looking at Maggie and I was like, what was that? And she's just like, I just compliment people. And I've heard you do that a dozen times since then.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it lights up people's day. What a great thing to give to people. I love that.
Well, and I just honestly, I don't do it intentionally. It's not like I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out and compliment this amount of people, but I energetically, it's almost like a little Tourette's-ish, if I'm going to be honest, because it's like something comes over me and I know I need to say that to that person. I know that I can't help it. I want to, I have, we
Express
were
it to
probably
I love that.
mid conversation and I probably pivoted at that moment and said that because
That's
it's just
part
like,
of the
I
course,
feel like, I know, but I
Yeah.
feel like they need to hear that. It's,
No, that's nice.
so many
very
times
thoughtful.
people are going through things in life that are so heavy and they just don't know how to get out of it. And they're just there's so many intrusive thoughts that people have, and so much with social media, comparing each other and comparing yourself to other people, and just not positivity. A lot of times I think with all of the social media and technology, people are so disconnected. So to me, if
Absolutely.
I feel like I want to compliment someone, I'm going to do it. And I'm not, again, because I don't care what it is. If I feel like I see that and I like that and I want to let them know, hey, look, I see you as a person. I see you.
Good.
Girl, wear that. That is your color.
It's so funny. Yeah.
I love it.
And by the way, do not take this as I'm digging for compliments. Guys don't get compliments, right? Very rarely do men get
Very
compliments.
rarely.
When a woman or a man even
Yeah.
gives me a compliment,
It
regardless of,
feels so good.
I like your shirt, I like your car, I like your shoe, whatever it is, it's so rewarding because it validates the choices you've made that day. And sometimes that day, that's the best thing about that day. And
Absolutely.
So, compliment a stranger. Go do that today. If
Do
you haven't
that.
already, go
And
compliment.
It
and you
makes you feel
remember it.
good.
Do it for no other purpose other than to give them something. I think
Yeah.
that's Maggie 101 is I'm going to welcome positivity into my life by giving it to others first. That is the quintessential Maggie way of life,
Absolutely.
I think. And I think that is so wonderful. It's so nice that you do that, but it's very memorable. I remember you doing it many times now, and it always just lights them up. And they're always so gracious and thoughtful and appreciative. And you do it in a extremely comfortable way, right? It's not it's not like a man complimenting a woman in a way that would make them
Right.
uncomfortable, right? You should be careful of that. The way that you do it is always thoughtful and conscientious, and it really, really does make people's day. So
Well, and
Do that.
it
Do
feels do that,
Go do
and
it.
it feels good to you.
For no other
Like,
purpose than to do it.
seeing the
That does
feel
reaction
good.
on people's face and them lighting up, and
Mhm.
like that feels so good. It's a beautiful energy exchange.
Yep.
That is like, again, that is why we are on this earth. Like, that is part of our lesson.
Yep.
It's just being good people. Like, it's not
Yep.
how much you have. It's not really even what you accomplish. It, like, as far as like material things, it's about who you are and who you show up as. And again, that's like your longevity in any career, is who you are and who you show up as. Whether or not you're a
Yep.
good leader or you're a bad leader,
100%.
whether you're a good student or a bad student, whether you're a good mom or a bad mom. And and again, we're human. You can catch me, like I was saying on that phone call when they caught me off guard. You can catch me on days that aren't great, but I always do try to balance that out. And I think you guys are really good at that too. Like, I tell Andrew all the time, like, you built so much confidence in me in business, because I feel like if Andrew gives me that compliment or validates, like, that's so important. And Carrie, the same with you. Like, I love that I'm able to, bring things to you and get your perspective. And like, you're always like, I remember one time we were at one of our awards dinners, and you were like, me and Leanne just try to figure out how you do it all. We just don't even. And to me, like, that meant so much to me that I was that duck on the water that I'm
Mhm.
kicking like
Yeah.
hell underneath it,
Yeah.
but it looks like I'm floating. I'm like, all right, I got it together.
It's you.
That stuff matters
you.
though. Like,
Mhm.
and again, just like making sure in business that you allow your clients to know that they matter, because you know how good it feels to matter,
Yeah.
or to be
true.
seen, or to be appreciated. Like, that is, if someone appreciates you, want to do
Mhm.
that much more for them.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
But like, again, being intentional about sending those videos, even if every 6 months, trying to reach out, maybe even a tailored gift. Like, I know in closing baskets, that's a good time to like listen and be intentional during the showing
Mhm.
process, maybe giving them something on the year anniversary that's, connects to them, asking them what their experience was. Like you're
Mhm.
saying, have a feedback session. And then always making sure you put on your calendar, like, the anniversary,
Oh,
their
yeah.
birthdays, the closing anniversary.
No, absolutely. And we always talk about this. If someone says something interesting that they like to do or whatever, remember it, write it down.
Mhm.
They shared it for a reason.
Yeah, they're
Because
trying
they,
to engage.
yeah, they're trying to
Yeah.
engage. They really
Thank you. I
like
didn't know
it.
that was for me.
Remember that. And if you don't remember, ask them. Say, I can't remember. We were talking about this. You mentioned this restaurant or whatever it was.
Mhm.
Even the fact that you're asking about it
Mhm.
shows them that you were
Engage.
engaged
Oh,
and you
yeah.
were listening.
I always tell people, like, your notes, your follow up notes, whenever you're making calls, like, it should be a story.
Mhm.
It does not do you any good if it's like 3-2 indicator. Like, that doesn't. Why? Like, why are they looking there? Like, what's the story? What does the house have to do? Why do you need that? Is it the schools? Is it the job? Is it the career? Is it the
Is
passion?
it near
Like,
parks?
yeah, I want to be near my kids. I want to be close to work. I want to be, it's all we've always wanted to live there. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
You have to know that stuff.
That's it. Yeah. My first question when I walk into a listing: what are you worried about? What are your concerns? What are the pain points? How can I make your life easier?
Yeah. What does this house have to do?
Doesn't matter how much I sold or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. They want to know that you're gonna take care of that.
This agent told me a couple of years ago, right when I first started, he said, whenever you're selling a house, make sure you know the story.
Mhm.
He's a great agent, and I was really grateful for the feedback. And he said, be able to tell the story, like, why did they buy it? What does it mean to them? Where are they going? If you're going to tell people like why this is the perfect house for them, you should be able to tell them why it was their house.
Yeah.
My throat's bothering me.
Are you
Great
okay?
point. Really, really good point. Yeah, something we won't turn this into a listing thing. But yeah, I'll tell someone, write down the top 5 things that you just love, that you're gonna miss when you sell this
Yeah,
house.
I'm great. Sorry, I've just been talking too much, I guess.
No, I love it.
One day.
I love it. I'm glad you're on here talking. We like having you on.
I love
on
it.
Monday
Special
Motivation.
guest.
Special guest.
Yeah. I like it when you watch a TV show and the same person is on every single week, but it says special guest at the end. You know what I mean? How do you get that?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
You just
Do they get
own
paid
it.
more? Do they get paid more if it says that? I
Probably.
would think. I want the special guest tag then.
Or it's like when in those movies
true.
where it's like
They might get paid nothing.
also featuring
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
featuring.
That's got to be that's got to be like negotiated.
It's
in
a
their
feature,
contract.
yeah.
In the mid 2000s, I thought it'd be really funny to give a kid the middle name featuring Ludacris because everything was featuring Ludacris for like 10 straight
Our little
years.
John.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
this is Carrie featuring Ludacris. That'd be really funny. I think that's a great middle
Timberland.
name.
That's probably why you don't
Actually,
have any
Timberland
kids.
wasn't featured.
Oh, yeah,
he just
Timberland.
he just
He
produced.
produced everything.
Mhm.
He's from another planet, I'm sure of it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And he hasn't aged at all. Looks the exact same
Yeah.
as he did 25 years ago. It's unbelievable.
Suspicious.
It is suspicious. He's definitely an alien.
I was gonna say he might be an alien.
Definitely an
We can talk about that another day.
Him and Keanu.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
And
And
Patrick Stewart.
no. And who's what is Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise does look old though. I saw him recently doing he looks pretty up there.
Does he?
We'll pull up Tom Cruise.
We'll do this later.
I bet
You ever notice he has one tooth dead center in the middle of his teeth, like right there? Because he's had his
Jawbreak.
jaw broke or whatever. So he has one tooth dead center, like right below his nose.
Interesting.
It's kind of, once you notice it, you can't not see it. By the way, my favorite actor, I think, Tom Cruise. Don't care for his politics. Scientology and all that stuff is a lot. But
Yeah.
that man makes hits. He's a hit.
I love
maker.
it.
And he cares about his fans. which I
Featuring
also love.
Ludacris.
Featuring Ludacris. Tom Cruise featuring Ludacris. Was there ever a movie where they were in the same film
I
together?
don't think so. Just The Rock and Ludacris.
Tom Cruise ever on with
Tropic Thunder might be the closest thing.
such a ridiculous
Fantastic movie.
with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Were they
Tom
ever in the
Cruise,
same
yeah.
movie?
It's like a power couple.
Mm. The two that the problem with the big names is you can only have one.
Can you?
Well, usually, I mean, there's only
Like
one, maybe
Denzel
two
co-ops with other.
every now and then, but he's like the big name. You know what I mean?
It's like the Ocean's 11's guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
they did.
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That was a good one.
There was a little streak there where they were doing some co-op stuff.
Yeah. All right, we were totally off track. All right, we love you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Yeah. Be
Any-
nice to strangers.
Any other
Yes.
comments on movie stars?
That'll
Yeah.
be our next
I love
motivation.
movie trivia, by the way.
You love trivia in general, and
That's
you're
true.
so good at it. And when I hear a random fact, I'm like putting it in my notes, and I'm like,
See
Andrew,
if I know
and then he knows it.
Falcon facts. I love that. All facts are good facts.
That was
Some
good.
facts are better.
That was a good one.
That
That
was a
was a
good
good one. So yes, talk to random people. There's a reason why all of these TikTok
love it.
videos and all that stuff, they're so popular with the guys that go and just talk to random people. Because people like that stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's real. It's real, and you can tell when it's staged. Like it feels forced, and nobody likes that stuff.
Is it that guy that drives around in New York with his windows down and all he does is yells at the people next to him? And
Like
gives them
compliments. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that guy a lot. Oh,
Light went off.
Turns out
Look,
we are
look,
1 hour timer.
The universe is like, y'all are done.
All right. Yeah, we're getting like pulled off stage.
Yeah.
You are done.
All
All
right.
right,
Thanks for
bye,
having me.
guys.
Bye.
All right, go off our live. That was fun. Am I taking